Kia ora Year 12 and Year 13. This is question 3b from the 2015 paper, and it's a triangular question. So the question is pretty straightforward, and they tell us which distribution to use. Remember, if they don't, we're choosing from these 5 distributions: binomial, uniform, triangular, normal, and Poisson. But in here, it's really obvious which one we should use, because we're told that the time taken to travel along a stretch of the motorway takes on values between 3 minutes and 8 minutes, and the most likely time is 4 minutes. So things to watch for is that this is continuous. Time is a continuous variable, and we're given the min, the max, and the most likely value. Now, you know, if you've watched my long video on triangular distribution, that there are 2 ways to do these problems. The first way is to use the formula, which gives you the values of the height, and that uses A, B, and C. And the second way, and my favourite way, is to do it with similar triangles. This turns out to be a pretty easy question, because what we're asked to do is to calculate the probability that it will take more than 4 minutes to travel, and 4 is my most likely value. So that's going to speed us up. The second part of the question, which is a merit one, is to explain why the median is not 6 minutes. So to do that one, what we're going to show, well, we're going to find the probability that x is greater than 6. And we'll say, what's that number? And it turns out that it's not equal to 0.5, right? Because remember, the median is the value such that we have 50% above and 50% probability below. So I've drawn a triangle already here. This is it. And what we're looking for in that first question is the probability that a car takes more than 4 minutes. Let's just go back and check. Yeah, more than 4 minutes. So we're going to shade that in. We're looking for that area there. So f at 4 is the first thing we'd work out anyway. That's my peak height. And that's 2 over the base. So 2 over the base is 2 over 8 minus 3, which is 2/5, or 0.4. So we can put that on now. That gives me the probability that x is greater than or equal to 4 is equal to half the base, it's b, times the height, which is a half, times, so my base for this triangle is going to be 4. 8 take away 4 times 0.4. That works out to be 0.8. So that's the first question, right? So this 4 in here is the area of the base of this triangle that we're trying to find now, right? The first base that I used was that whole thing there. So that's the first bit. Now we're going to do the next bit, which is to figure out that the median is not 6. So I'm going to draw that roughly below again. So very, very bad. Please, please, can you use a ruler? I'm horrified that proper maths teachers are watching. Okay, there's 4, and here's 8. Now, 6 doesn't look quite right there. Let's put it in about the right place. If 4's here and 8's here, 6 is halfway in between. I am trying to blast these videos out really fast this afternoon, so usually even I would use a ruler, but here I'm not going to. Now what we've got to do is to show that 6 is not the median. So we're going to find the probability that x is greater than 6. To do that, we need to work out what the height is at 6. We know the height at the peak point is 0.4. So using similar triangles, this distance here is 2. This distance here is 4. So if we go halfway up towards the top, f of 6 is going to be a half, or 2/4, of my peak height. And that's using the idea of similar triangles. From 8 to 6 is halfway back of the horizontal distance. So I need to go halfway up to have it fit the same angles. So f of 6 is going to be a half of 0.4, which is 0.2. So the probability that x is greater than 6 is equal to half the base times the height, which is a half of 2 times 0.2, which is 0.2, and that definitely does not equal 0.5. So since the probability that x is greater than 6 is not equal to 0.5, 6 isn't the median.